DCBB 97.2.
Reporting the most controversial global issues that concern school and community from here and around the globe. DZBB 97.2.
First and live at Laban News Center.
The Voice of Mauban. Good afternoon, social studies future educators. Good afternoon from Maricel Poron.
Good afternoon, Pambayang Kolehiyo ng Mauban.
Good afternoon, Mauban. This is Justin Alsola Principe,
And this is Mary Faye Rochelle Lumactod.
bringing you the hottest news
The truth,
and its details.
hear it!
DCBB 97.2.
Reporting to you live. Our time is exactly 2:30 in the afternoon, Monday, June 21, 2020.
In the heads of the breaking news,
Pollution, a filthy air towards education.
a school becomes a place of danger and violence.
Little access, not enough learning, twin deficit in education.
Blending perspective and building common ground, impact of substance abuse on the individual, family, and community.
Philippines ranked 94 out of 177 countries in Transparency's International 2019 corruption.
Climate change brings negative changes.
Unemployment rate in the Philippines reached lowered to 5.2%.
The regional organization faced lack of security and well-being in some schools.
Terrorism affects the learning environment of the students and lives of the society.
Malnourishment and hunger, one of the reasons in death of a 1 in 10 child.
Climate change is already having a negative impact on the lives of the people around the world. Failure to act urgently will reverse development gains for the most vulnerable in society. Ring Talbayan give us some details.
In all the pros of what we have today, there are also cons, and one of those cons is pollution. Based on the given data, pollution includes ocean litter, pesticides and fertilizers, air and noise pollution. This aspect is very important because the health of the students, the teachers and staffs, and the community as whole will be at risk. As an example, we all know that clean water is essential for humans and animals. Unfortunately, more than 1 billion people don't have access to clean water because of pollution from toxic substances, sewage, or industrial water. But today, let me focus on air pollution and its effects from ESA World of Labor Report. 1. Decline in test scores. In a study in Israel about the scholastic performance of students in standardized exams, it was found out that taking an exam on a polluted day was linked with a 3.2% decline in students' test scores. 2. Students less likely to go to university. Yes, high pollution days can affect them. It can even make students complete fewer years of secondary education. 3. Increased absence. This happens when a pollution-related illness occurred or the parents restricted their children to attend classes to avoid pollution exposure. Economist Seth Roth even supported the fact that air pollution implicates the educational results across several distinct age groups and varying lengths of exposure. This is why we have to act upon it. The earlier, the better. This is Doreen Calibayan, reporting for DCBB 97.2, the voice of Mauban.
Violence has probably always been part of the human experience. Its impact can be seen in various forms in all parts of the world. Each year, more than 1 million people lose their lives and they many more suffering for non-fatal injuries. Lorraine Teves give us some details.
Thank you, Justin. As I found out, during 1 year, half of the public middle and high school reported at least one incident of physical attacks, fight without a weapon, theft, larceny, and vandalism. School violence is not confined to urban schools. It is also prevalent to some urban schools. Violence is almost common in large school and middle school. Students are the most likely targets of violence behavior, whereas the chances of serious violence such as shooting are very low. Violence continues to take place in school. Also, in light of 5% decrease in weapons weapon on school property. What is more, official statistics are often lower than the actual rates of the violence behavior because of biases in reporting. In addition, some of the studies says schools are taking a variety of measures to improve school safety, the use of metal detectors, the presence of security guards on campus, rules and regulations regarding student conduct and dress, profiling the potentially violent student, anti-bullying instructional program, and counseling and meditation. This is Lorraine Teves reporting from DCWB 97.2, The Voice of Mauban.
Today, education remains inaccessible right for millions of children around the world. More than 72 million children are primary education age are not in schools, and 759 million adults are illiterate and do not have the awareness necessary to improve both their living conditions and those are their children's. Ana Alvarez gives us some updates.
Rising awareness of the skills of learning crisis has started spotlight in schools, classrooms, and teachers, and for good reason. Education system across the region urgently need reform, but the problem became long before children enter school in a little interaction between poverty, inequality, and education is accomplished. The early childhood years set many of children on the course for failure in education. There is compelling international evidence that preschool malnutrition has profoundly damaging and largely irreversible consequences for the language, memory, and motor skills that make effective learning possible and last throughout youth and adulthood. This year, 40% of children will reach primary school age having their education opportunities blinded by hunger. Moreover, the ultimate aim of any education system is to equip children with the numeracy, literacy, and wider skills that they need to realize their potential, and that their countries need to generate jobs, innovation, and economic growth. This is Ana Alvarez reporting for DCWB 97.2, The Voice of Mauban.
Corruption is a global phenomenon that causes poverty, obstructs development, and drives away investment. It also deliberates the judicial and political system that should be working for public good. Justin Principe, give us some details.
Graft, bribery, embezzlement, backdoor deals, and nepotism. These are the form of corruptions that occur in the agency of government. Whereas, corruption is major cause of poverty considering how it affects the poormost, eroding political and economic development, democracy, and more. Corruption can be detrimental to the safety and well-being of citizens living within the corrupted vicinity and can cause an increase in violence and physical threats without as much regulation in the government. Corruption worsened in the Philippine government in 2019 as its rank 113 of 180 countries studied on the perceived political integrity. Transparency International, a non-profit watchdog monitoring the status of global corruption in the public sector, has issued the Corruption Perception Index or CPI for 2019, showing that Philippines dropped 14 notches from the 99 in year 2018. In its current ranking, the Philippines obtained a score of 34, down to 2 points from 36 in 2018. The Philippine score indicates that continuous struggle to tackle corruption along with other countries in Asia-Pacific region, the reported read. This is the lowest ranking that the country has received since 2012. While the Philippines also got a score of 34 in 2017, it only ranked 111 out of 180 countries. This is Justin Principe reporting DZWB 97.2, The Voice of Mauban. The World Health Organization defines substance abuse as the harmful or hazardous use of psychoactive substances, including alcohol and illicit drugs. Substances abuse touches millions of people worldwide each year. Remolio Astuista give us some details.
MAT or the medical assisted treatment is one of the groups that helps treat people who overdose or overuse taking drugs even if it's prescribed standard of living, or even hanging around that has a various problems in life. This is Remelu Estresar reporting for DC Global B 97.2, the voice of mom.
Pollution can take many forms. The air we breathe, the water we drink, the soil we use to grow our food, the lit up skies, and even the increasing noise we hear every day can all contribute to health problems and a lower quality of life with major disruptions and effect on wildlife on ecosystem. Doreen Kalubayan, give us some details.
One of the negative implications of having such wonderful economic privileges is the climate change. Unfortunately, it has also become a global issue today concerning school and communities. As climate change leads to increasingly severe heat waves, floods, droughts, and hurricanes, it is important to understand how extreme weather impact kids' education to different parts of the world. In 2016, 263 million school-aged children, 1 in 5 kids all over the world remain out of school. So, what are the effects of climate change in education? First, extreme weather events such as tropical cyclones may destroy or damage school buildings. Second, because of that, children whose houses were destroyed are temporarily unable to attend school, but some may never return to their studies. Third, agricultural households are suffering losses to income, and food security caused by droughts or heat waves may not have enough money to pay school fees. Some parents even pull students from school for them to help earn money. Fourth, in a communal picture, reduced agricultural production due to droughts, heat, or floods can negatively affect the nutrition of pregnant women or young children. This can cause diarrhea and other waterborne diseases which may lead to acute malnutrition. This could negatively affect too the cognitive development and lower educational attainment later in life. For sure, exposure to extreme weather events affect kids during critical periods of development that leaves them at an educational advantage compared to those who experience more favorable climatic conditions. Here in the Philippines, the communities are what's most affected by climate change, including sea level rise, increased frequency of extreme events, rising temperatures, and extreme rainfall. Our country lies in the world's most cyclone-prone region, averaging 19 to 20 cyclones every year, of which 7 to 9 make landfall. And if this affects community, what more in scope? This is Doreen Kalubayan reporting from DCWB 97.2, the voice of Mauban.
Safety and safety challenges rank among the most pressing issues of the modern times. Challenges such as cybercrime, terrorism, and environmental disaster that occurs around the world. Lorraine Teves gave us some updates.
Well-being is the experience of health and happiness. It includes mental and physical health, physical and emotional safety, and the feeling of belonging, sense of purpose, achievement, and success. There is a direct link between well-being and academic achievement, and vice versa. Well-being is significant for achievement, and achievement is essential for well-being. Strong, supportive relationship also provide students with the emotional resources to step out of their intellectual comfort zone and explore new ideas and ways of thinking, which is basic in educational achievement. The promotion of well-being may sometimes appear to conflict with other school priorities, such as academic standard, unreasonably high expectation in the region of constant testing, or an overemphasis on the importance of academic performance may actually undermine student well-being. Well-being at work is strongly related to stress, which is related to overload, quality of professional relationship, and the opportunity to be involved in changes, which affect one professional life. High level of stress can lead to demotivation, lack of job satisfaction, and poor physical and mental health, which has an effect on student-owned well-being. This is Lorraine Teves reporting for DCWB 97.2, the voice of Mauban.
Unemployment adversely affects the disposable income of families, erode purchasing power, diminishes employee morale, and reduces an economy's output. Unemployment rate doesn't just impact those individuals and jobless. The level and the persistence of the factors of the unemployment have wide-ranging impacts across the broader economy. Anna Almirez, give us some details.
The necessary education and skills for employment. Many people, particularly 15 to 24 years old, struggle to find jobs and create a proper living for themselves and their families. This leads to a lack of necessary resources such as livelihood, clothing, transportation, and proper living conditions. The unemployment rate in the Philippines is lower to 5.2% in the March quarter of 2019 from 5.3% a year ago. The present work comes in support of the limitation, identifying and solving complex problems arising from the implementation of the global economy. Unemployment is a contemporary economic phenomenon increasingly spread due to complex and comprehensive in nature, affecting the economic, social, political, psychological, and moral development. It represents a negative state of the economy that indicates not using a part of the workforce employed. According to Arif Mitra, a professor of economics at the Institute of Economic Growth, Delhi University, the increasing number of unemployed people not actively looking for jobs suggests people have withdrawn from the labor market. One, the infection has now spread, and two, due to closures, there are not enough jobs available. Again, this is Anna Alvarez, reporting for DCWB 97.2, the voice of Mauban.
Terrorism is a global issue as it affects all regions and continents of the world. It is an event that occurs almost every week of every month. In an estimated 25,673 persons lost their life to terrorist attacks in 2016. The history of terrorism is quite complicated one due to lack of universal consensus on the definition of terrorism. Remelios Trista gave us some updates.
One of the global problems today is terrorism, where a lot of infrastructure is destroyed as a result.
Around the world, more than enough food is produced to feed the global population, but more than 690 million people still go hungry. After steadily declining for a decade, world hunger is one of the rise affecting 8.9% of people globally. From 2018 to 2019, the number of undernourished people grew by 10 million and there are nearly 60 million more undernourished people now. Mary Perushal Lumacdod, give us some details.
According to UNICEF Philippines, Filipino children are increasingly suffering from poor diets, inadequate nutrition, and food systems that are failing them. 1 in 3 Filipino children under 5 years old are stunted, while roughly 7% of children are too thin for their height and age. The undernutrition facts in the Philippines are disturbing. 1 in 3 12 to 23 months children suffer from anemia, while 1 in 3 children are irreversibly stunted by the age of 2. In the other hand, 1 to 10 adolescents are obese from wrong eating habits. The National Nutrition Council do the efforts to address malnutrition, especially among children, through Philippine Plan Action Nutrition for 2017 to 2022. It will serve as country's framework for nutrition improvement, said Dr. Dayang Hirang, Executive Director of National Nutrition Council. And this is Faye Lumacdod reporting for DCWB 97.2, the voice of Mauban. And that's all for today's news.
I am Justin Alsola Principe.
And I am Faye Lumacdod.
This is DCWB 97.2, the voice of Mauban, now signing off.